Hi, everybody. Really great to see you all here. And I'll try to present our company and what we do. Before that, just a little insight into the industry. So, mobile apps. Everybody has them now. But how about the size of the industry? Is it really big? By different measures and different estimates and different researches, mobile application industry is going to grow to approximately $20 billion in just the next 2 to 3 years. So from 2009, 4 billion, to approximately 20 billion in the year 2012. Just to give you a sense of scale, entire music industry is today worth $23 billion a year only, and that's including everything. Digital, physical, label companies, all the rock stars, and everything all together. So we're talking about the industry which is comparable to the whole of music, which can employ 300,000 to 500,000 people. So the question is, who's going to employ the people? The one big trend, which apparently is happening, and you can clearly see it in the market, is movement from carriers to off-deck businesses. So even with the success of platforms such as the iPhone in last year, still majority of the revenue of the 4 billion was made by carriers, namely 60%. Still, it's expected that they will make a small portion of that, but 80% of the revenue in 3 years will be really bypassing carriers and will be made in off-deck mobile application stores. So what's our game? Today we call ourselves the largest open mobile application store, meaning that we really operate cross platforms. We have no restrictions, technology, content, and we really are open to basically anybody and everybody. We support over 2,000 phones. We have a catalog of over 80,000 applications across all major platforms. We have over 50,000 active developers, so those who have submitted at least one application. Today, we're doing over 100 million downloads every month. That's approximately 40 downloads every single second. A few months ago, we celebrated our first billion downloads. And again, as my colleague said, that's only the second time on the planet anybody was able to announce that kind of number. We operate in more than 200 countries, and we have more than 50 partners, channel partners, such as carriers, OEMs, and our partners. This is our growth. You know, interestingly, what you can see here is the doubling in pace at the moment when iPhone App Store was launched. So really what happened is, thanks to this wonderful platform, Apple and the iPhone created massive awareness about applications. Together, it fulfilled the demand only for a limited number of platforms, apparently the iPhone only. Now, the interesting part, what you don't really see here, is the launch of any other vertical app stores. So contrary to, say, some doubts that our investors had a couple of years ago, a verticalization of the space has not happened, and as you can see, we're actually seeing a massive acceleration in our growth and downloads. Now, why do we believe that our model is better? So first, a little remark. You know, in general, our kind of strategy in this game is our promise to the industry to make the app space as open as the internet, as the websites. If you really think of that, today, mobile applications are really restricted. First, you have to have explicit approval on any content. Any business model can be banned, and we've seen a number of, things like that. So unlike on the web, like nobody approves or tells you whether or not you can launch a specific website. You are in charge of a website. You basically launch whatever you think is appropriate, and nobody tells you, what to launch, what not to launch. Nobody tells you on the web what technology to use. Like you're free to use Flash or any other technology. You're free to use PayPal as well as checkout, as well as any other billing that you want. And that is not the case on apps, where you are restricted to specific content. You are not given a choice of, for example, your favorite billing partner. And what's more, you are taxed. I call it the App Store tax, 30%, the revenue share called by other app stores, for basically any business that you run on mobile applications because of the platforms being closed. So really our promise to the industry is make the app space same open as the web, have absolutely zero content restrictions as long as the content is legal. We don't object to any business model. We don't object to any technology such as Flash or billing provision. Basically, it's your choice. And the strongest point, we don't tax you on existence. Basically, if you, for example, choose PayPal as your credit card billing provider, and you end up paying them, say, 1.5% for credit card transactions, you do keep 98.5% yourself, all the money that you make. Now, what does allow us to really provide, this pretty complicated platform essentially for free to developers without taking any cut of their business on transactions? In reality, it's a marketing-based model. Basically, same model as invented by Overture, run by Google, known AdWords on the web. So basically, developers are willing to pay for premium visibility for the leads that are generated by Marketplace. The funny thing, the model not only is very open in a sense that you only pay what you ask for. So if your user is bringing you lifetime value of, say, $10, $100, you will be happy to, say, pay half of that, 20% of that, whatever you feel appropriate, for us to give you that user in the first instance. But at the end of the day, this actually proves to be a very powerful and very profitable business model. And here on this slide, I've split very approximately the value chain into 4 major components. And as you see, typically, at least when we observe, say, our developers, typically, end of the day, developers, the IP owner, keeps 30% of the total value. App stores charge typically about 10%, what I call the platform fee. So basically the fee just because you exist on that platform and using that infrastructure. And on top of that, they bundle also the transaction fee, which is again in between 10 and 20% for providing you the transactions. Now, in any business model, on average, half of the budget actually goes into marketing. And this is really where our game is. So when we describe an app store, essentially, we tell that it really serves 3 major functions. One, it provides a platform, technical platform for you to host the files, to detect the phones, to serve the right builds to the right handsets, and so on. Second, it provides transactions. So typically, again, except Getjar, transactions are bundled and are forced to a specific transaction provider. And third, finally, it provides you a marketing platform. Because just by virtue of existing on an app store, you already get some kind of marketing. You are visible. Now, reality is, the classical closed app store model really bundles the free service, just like, shampoo 3-in-1, and charges 30% on that bundle. And you cannot separate any part of that. Now, what we believe is that different developers are in different need of different part of that bundle. So some, or most actually, need a platform, because that's pretty complicated to develop one. Few really need transactions, especially with established web players. Amazons and eBays of the world already established their business models, already established their transaction models, already established their consumer base. So they don't really need, any specific billing. Totally the opposite. It actually will harm their business. And finally, marketing. Smaller developers, one-man developers, they do enjoy and they are happy to pay 30% for being visible because we have no alternatives. But some large web companies, somebody like Facebook, do they need marketing? If you ask me, how many of the 25 million iPhone Facebook users have discovered Facebook on the Apple App Store, answer will be 0. So these guys don't need marketing. They don't need transactions. They only need the platform. So why they would pay 30% for a whole bundle? So this is a small case study. How does it work in reality? And funny enough, for a case study, I've chosen a company who invented the model, Google. So Google came to us to promote a range of Google applications. Initially, it was Google Maps. And organically, Google was getting approximately 40,000 downloads a month, because that is the rate at which consumers naturally discovered Google. Now, a couple months later, Google decided they want more visibility. So they started to funny enough, basically purchase consumers at the same auction model that we run for the rest of the web. And apparently, the initial strategy was to buy as cheap as possible, basically bidding as low as possible. Still, that grew their downloads approximately 4 to 5 times. After a couple of months, we realized, we might want to try to bid to the actual market level, which we did, and that boosted their campaign to a massive over 1 million downloads a month. So as you see, the difference between sponsored and non-sponsored listing is massive. So somebody like Google is pretty happy to pay the price. Now, again, what does it allow us is to fund the whole App Store operation, the whole platform operation, purely on that revenue, and not to tap into developers' revenue. We don't charge the developer App Store tax. And this chart, again, this is how it looks to a developer. And on a classical App Store model, you keep 70%, App Stores keep 30%. In our model, you choose what is your billing provider and how much you're paying to that billing provider, and you keep the rest. So apparently, the value proposition to the developer is much stronger. Moreover, the model is so powerful for us, so profitable, that we've taken a couple months ago it a step further. We decided that we will separate a portion of the revenue that we are getting from developers for marketing their content to acquire content for consumers. So basically, we pay cash, hard, cold cash to developers upfront to get licenses, outright, unlimited licenses for one of the best titles available in the industry, to simply give these titles to consumers away for free. So this resembles a little bit CD store versus radio. You can buy to a CD store and pay £20 for your favorite CD, or you can listen to the same music for free in your car because the music is paid for by advertisers. So not only we can, again, fund the whole App Store operation on that revenue, not only we can make the whole space available to developers without tapping into any of the transactions, we actually are able to allocate a significant portion of that revenue to simply acquire content and give it away to consumers. And the kind of titles that you might have seen on our site if you visited us is the likes of Call of Duty. This is one of the top brands ever seen. Stranded, Angry Birds, and some other titles. So these are just some sample developers that really are, say, sponsoring their application or basically generating revenue for us in exchange for us providing distribution for them. And among those, you will see somebody like Facebook, and by the way, which today on Getjar holds the world's record for most ever downloaded application. A few weeks ago, we announced over 100 million Facebook downloads on Getjar alone. But there are slightly less known, nevertheless still big companies such as eBuddy, a European messaging company, which have achieved over 70 million downloads at Getjar. Nimbus, over 40 million downloads a month, and so on and so on. So we believe that to brands like that, we are really a strong partner for mobile app distribution. Angry Birds, how many of you have played Angry Birds? Awesome, pretty big. So Angry Birds is the most successful game on the iPhone, and a couple of weeks ago we launched that game exclusively on Getjar for free on the Android, and that made the fastest ever downloaded application on the planet. We did over 1 million downloads only on Android, only one application in the first day alone. So this is how powerful our distribution platform is. And today we're actually one of the, if not the, biggest launch partners for some of the big names, and we're actually going to announce some really, really interesting launches in the next few weeks. So thank you very much.